Hello and welcome to the Bass Gear Magazine review companion video for the Arturia MiniFuse 2 audio interface. Now if you've been a good gearhead, you've already read the review, you know all about this. So this is just a really quick introduction. It's a 2-in, 2-out interface. The 2 outs there. Also offers 5-pin MIDI in and out. Conveniently offers a USB hub output to power devices or even take USB input through, and uses the USB 2.0 protocol over USB-C, which I like to see, no pun intended. All right, so let's dive right in and I'll show you how I use this with my system. Simply connect a USB cable between the unit and your computer to simultaneously power it and send signal back and forth. Alright, so as you can see, now I have Ableton Live open. Ableton is my DAW of choice, my preferred DAW, and actually the MiniFuse 2 comes with a free trial of Ableton Live Lite, I believe. However, I already own Live 11. This is the Suite version, but that doesn't have any bearing on what we're going to talk about. So first things first, let's open up options, go down to preferences, just to make sure that we have the right interface selected. Because I'm using multiple ones. And as you can see, here we go, I have the MiniFuse ASIO driver selected for Ableton. If I click on this hardware setup button, it brings up the control panel. So right now, I think this is a default. It's set to safe mode and 128 samples. Ordinarily, I wouldn't really be using either of those things. I have a pretty competent system. Usually I try to use about 64 samples as a buffer size, and I usually don't use a safe mode. However, the latency is so low that it really isn't, it's not going to affect my performance. I may not even perceive it. There's a big difference in real latency and reported latency and actual latency. Some drivers don't tell the truth, and some pieces of software don't tell the truth. When Ableton is telling me that I'm below about 10 milliseconds, then I'm pretty happy. Usually it's not going to affect me negatively. And like I said, I may not even perceive it at all. So let's get this going here, and I will just record a little riff. Okay, and actually now I can see that I don't have my input gain turned up anywhere near high enough. The waveform is very small, as you can see. I want to kind of maximize that, or at least get a lot closer to my rails without going over, so I don't peak, I don't cause any distortion, but I want to optimize the signal to noise ratio. So on the front of the MiniFuse 2, the gain knobs have individual little LEDs right on the knob itself that light up blue when it's getting an optimal signal level, and briefly flash red if you're peaking. So right there I was getting a little bit of a red flash, and you can see from this waveform I probably just slightly clipped. So I brought it down a little bit, and let's try that same thing again. Well, aside from kind of screwing up that riff, this looks pretty good. I might have gotten a little bit close to clipping there on that first note, but I can always kind of enlarge this and investigate and see what's up. Looks like I just avoided it. I just made it right under the mark. So there you go. There's not really anything significantly different workflow-wise about how the MiniFuse 2 works as an interface if you've ever used one before. If you haven't used one before, there's really not much to it. Basically, by following what I just showed in the options and preferences, by setting up your interface and just having it connected to your computer, that's really most of the work that you need to do. It's a great interface for traveling, especially, I would say, because it is a 2-input, 2-output. It's not ideal for large ensembles, or if you're doing live performances. Sometimes when I perform live, I use an interface that gives me 4 discrete outputs. So I have a separate output for bass, vocals, front of house, which is all my tracks, and then a separate personal monitoring output. Something like this isn't really designed to do that. It's not really aimed at that type of person. This is much more for the vast majority of musicians who are going to be, especially younger digital musicians, who are going to be recording by themselves or in pairs at most. And if you're just using it in a kind of studio environment or in a portable environment where you're using headphones or a pair of monitors, its 2 outputs are more than sufficient for that. Make sure you subscribe to the Bass Gear Magazine channel on YouTube so you can stay informed on all the cool new stuff that we are checking out and writing about and filming for you. It's a pretty fun job, I have to tell you. All right. Thank you guys very much. See you next time.